All right, folks, thank you for stopping by here. Going to be a big live session here. You know, the market makers took advantage of us getting a little excited here once again, wiping us out from $3.30 back down to $3 today. Truly incredible to see on XRP, but we're going to be breaking down this market, everything that's been taking place, how I'm positioned, many in our community are positioned, and I'm really looking forward to bringing this update to you guys here. Just give me 1 second to dial in a couple things. There we go. Ah, that's my problem. My mouse is dead. My apologies, guys. My apologies. There's all my beautiful thumbnails. Just want to get the background dialed in. Sorry, having a few technical difficulties as we get started, but let's make it known. Anybody who gets in an XRP family merch order tonight is getting a free XRP hat. That's right. Everybody gets a hat that gets an order in during tonight's live show, and we do have these available in the Richardson 112s and also in the Flex Fits, but this is going to be included in your merch order. So head on over to zachrector.com/shop. I've linked it up at the top of the description. Any merch order that gets placed during tonight's live show, we're going to throw in a hat for you, okay? So if everybody could do us a big favor, like this video, share it out far and wide. Let's get straight on into the update. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Just like 1970 legend said right here, it is giveaway day, and we're going to be having a celebration despite XRP coming back down. This is why we didn't leave during the bear market. We're having a good time while the market moves back up. A little bit of a pullback doesn't shake us out in the slightest, and I actually like to come live during days like today so that I can get a vibe check from the community, answer your comments and questions, and make sure that everybody's still got their head in the game, that we stay locked in. We're not going anywhere, and in fact, as I titled tonight's episode, XRP is outperforming everything in the top 10 and really in the top like 50 when you look at XRP's performance since the election. Okay, so in the title of today's live show, I titled it XRP Outperforming Everything, and I had to leave it at that because you can only do a short title. You know, you can't do these long drawn out titles and, you know, put all the nuance in there. But the only nuance is XRP's outperforming everything in the top 10, and it's doing so by a lot. It's really not even close. In fact, right here on my notepad, I went through and I added up the percentage gain from the election to where we're at right now, and it's actually shocking. XRP is outperforming all of these by a lot. The closest one is Cardano, up 176%. But since the election, XRP is up over 510%. Now, hopefully XRP and the markets haven't moved too much since I took this data just a couple hours ago. But in tonight's episode, I wanted to break down for everybody that despite this pullback, and despite this sentiment in the community that XRP is in trouble, this is bad, and you can tell that a lot of new people coming in can't handle the swings. Even for the seasoned veterans, right? People are getting caught up. The leverage traders too. We're seeing swings of 30 cents in a day. We haven't really seen this for XRP. And now we're getting this on a regular basis where this volatility is really massive, and it's going to impact our community massively because so many of us are so heavy XRP. Just like I shared in my portfolio update for the Discord community, we are very heavy XRP, about 90% XRP, not including my XRP futures position and not including my XRP meme coins. So I'm well over 90% XRP and XRP ecosystem, but I did share that with the Discord group. That is linked up down below as well. I just saw a couple notifications that we got orders coming in. Any orders placed tonight, free hat coming your way. Let's get rocking and rolling. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Let's go. So here's the situation. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirms that they will not be buying more Bitcoin. But he does come out and says that Bitcoin has been finally forfeited to the federal government will be the foundation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve that President Trump established in his March executive order. In addition, Treasury is committed to exploring budget neutral pathways to acquire more Bitcoin to expand the reserve, and to execute on the president's promise to make the United States the Bitcoin superpower of the world. Now, there are a few ways that this could be done. You could collect tax payments in Bitcoin. You could issue debt. You could do bonds that were backed by Bitcoin as well, too. There's a few ways that you could acquire this in neutral ways. And the thing that I've been saying this whole time is that nobody's in a better position to help the government than Ripple. They could do so as a gratis vendor, which is a term for somebody who gives their services or product, to the United States government for free. Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce, he explained this very well, and I had never really heard of the term before. But gratis vendor, it's very common actually. Now, of course, many government contractors, right? They're getting paid by the government for their services. But Ripple's actually in a position where they could just remove all friction and say, hey, we'd love to help you out. We can do so on the XRP ledger. We have some XRP at zero cost basis. We could give you a little bit, right? And maybe we give them a discount. Maybe we make them pay full price. I'm not too happy with my United States government, so maybe we should make them pay full price, right? I've actually proposed before. I said that maybe Ripple should put forward a proposal. Hey, if we get these things accomplished, we can do a deal for some XRP. Like, for example, the SEC dropping the Ripple lawsuit. The next thing would be the ETFs going live. And then we're looking for the Clarity Act to get established. We'll be well on our way. And nobody's positioned like Ripple to help out our treasury and to give or sell XRP to our treasury in a way that I think would actually benefit the country when it comes to solving the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. It's so simple. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin crowd's been trying to basically sell President Trump and this government on, creating this Bitcoin strategic reserve, and Bitcoin's going to be the answer. And you heard President Trump tease the crypto guys, saying that we might write a crypto check to write off the debt, etc. But to me, Bitcoin is just not going to get the job done as efficiently, because from an ROI standpoint from today, it's not going to perform as well. But Senator Cynthia Lummis, she's on the case. She says that she's going to be working with Besant and Howard Lutnick to identify budget neutral ways to continue growing our Bitcoin reserve and outpacing adversaries in the race. It's a race for the Bitcoin, so we better figure it out. And I was just going to leave you guys with one point on this thread. What if our government and really our military has been running one of the largest military sting operations known to man, and they've been able to confiscate just a little bit of Bitcoin, and maybe there's a lot more Bitcoin to acquire by taking down some folks that were using Bitcoin to facilitate some bad things. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And this is where they're saying that they can start a stockpile, and I think that they're going to be able to start a really good stockpile of Bitcoin based off of this. I think that it's been actually understated how much Bitcoin was used in some criminal activities. Now, once again, I'm rooting for Bitcoin. Let's be very clear. I'm rooting for Bitcoin. I'm rooting for Ethereum, but I'm here to make money, and that's why I don't hold either one. Okay, I'm in other assets because I'm here for ROI. And I'm here to change the new financial system, and I think that when it comes to solving the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis, that trifecta, Bitcoin doesn't cut it, and neither does Ethereum or many other layer ones. XRP, we can have a serious conversation. Now, what's interesting here is that Bitcoin may be approaching, the top, and we could see a double top. I wouldn't throw that out of the cards here yet, but Bitcoin's rolling over along with Bitcoin dominance, and Pantera Capital called this one pretty well. We got to give them some credit here on this 2022 Bitcoin model, which predicted $117,000 Bitcoin for August 11, 2025, just 1% off the actual 118,700. And the forecast, based on halving cycle patterns, also correctly pinpointed the cycle peak this month. So that's a really good call. We got to give credit where credit's due, right? 1% off on the exact day, that's pretty dang good. It's better than my 9% away from the $4 target that I had for August, right? My window of opportunity for a $4 XRP was the end of July into August. We only went up to 366. We fell short. Zach, you suck so much. If you feel it, just, hey, you can get out your anger and frustration and hatred for me by smacking that thumbs down. It's okay. Let it out, okay? 9% away. We were pretty close, but not the 1% away that Pantera Capital was. Pantera Capital with a pretty good call. And then they're saying that the cycle peak comes this month. This is very interesting. I'm going to show you a chart here from Cassie Trades in a second. She's looking at her Elliott wave theory and Fibonacci levels, and she's suggesting the same thing, that Bitcoin might have hit a local top. I don't know if she's suggesting that this is the cycle top, but I'm going to show you guys that thread here in 1 second. I was listening to a Bitcoin space, though, here just a few hours ago, and I thought that I was losing my mind. You know, I there's different levels of delusion in the cryptocurrency space, whether it be memesters, whether it be, I don't want to name specific projects like Proton, whether it be other projects, right, where guys just think that, you know, it's going to be the best thing. It's going to be the end all be all, and that all the institutions are going to choose that chain. But there is another level of delusion in the Bitcoin community that I can't even explain. At first, and I'm talking about the space I was listening to, there's like 1,000 people listening. And I saw the Cardone brothers were in there. The regular Bitcoin guys were in there. But then the guy that was hosting the space and doing the most talking, I'd never heard of before. But I forget, he was on some trading desk, running the bond market or fixed income desk for somebody back in the 90s. And he spoke with a lot of confidence. In fact, he said he was a time traveler. And he literally suggested, I kid you not, I wish I was making this up, guys, but tonight I heard somebody say seriously that Bitcoin is being protected by time travelers. I wish I was making this up. Now, I know the XRP community, we got Riddlers and we got time travelers too, but we got some evidence behind our time travelers, don't we? We got some interesting data points on our time travelers. And so I'm not going to deny that the XRP community is not crazy too. I lean into that. I say God bless the XRP community and how crazy we are. The ones that stood against everything that's been up against us. But then there's another level of delusion. And this guy, I swear, it was like a space of Bitcoin bros. But then there's another level, the guys that are all in on Bitcoin and micro. The narrative for Bitcoin and XRP. And he points out here how much it's changed for Bitcoin. You know, it was end the Fed, kill the banks back from 2011 to 2016. It was pivot to digital gold in 17 to 19, 20 to 2021. It was the institutional embrace, banks buying Bitcoin seen as bullish, 2022 to now. Softer stance, global reserve asset, coexists with banks, backs Bitcoin friendly regulation. And now we need to add, it is protected by time travelers too, and aliens, I guess. That's the new narrative. And for XRP, it's just been very simple since 2012, for 13 years that the XRP ledger has existed. The narrative is the internet of value for everyone, including banks and governments. And that's why XRP sells so well. People can actually understand the utility, just like Rosie Rio said, the 43rd Treasurer of the United States of America. She said that XRP stands alone as one of the few cryptos with real utility. Now, there are other cryptos with utility, and we've talked about this in the past, where they have retail ecosystems, retail DeFi, and participation and money flowing. Fantastic. But if you're not going to see institutional inflows into the asset and institutional use of the ledger at scale, well, you're just not going to be moving trillions. You're not going to be addressing markets that go into hundreds of trillions into quadrillions. You just won't be at that level. Now, a meme coin gets pumped up every day. A utility project that's not getting any institutional adoption, but has enough of a narrative can get pumped up too. We've seen those come and go. Some of those we've traded. And so we see it all the time. But this is one distinguishing fact from XRP. And yes, there's crazy parts of our community too. And people love to pick on us for being a cult and all that. And I say, yeah, sure. I lean into it. We just accept that. Sure. We know what we believe in. And this is the beautiful thing about the crypto space. There is plenty of room for multiple winners. And I'm not here to say that Bitcoin and Ethereum won't stick around and won't be protected by time travelers. If people want to believe that, God bless them, that's fine. I'm just here to make money. And I want to see the assets that will actually transform the new financial system be lifted up and chosen by true merit, not by backdoor deals and corruption, which is why, you know, I have not been really turned on by what I've seen in Bitcoin and Ethereum, because the corruption behind them, the manipulation behind them. and they don't address solving the new financial system. That's why we haven't been there. And that's why, as I titled tonight's episode, I believe that XRP is outperforming Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest combined. Yeah. And we'll get to that here shortly. Now, this is Hester Peirce talking about the new guidance that they're going to do. And apparently Paul Atkins, he's going to be, I think, on CNBC or Fox Business tomorrow to talk about this crypto program that they're rolling out. But I want to lay out here, Hester Peirce, not only is she bringing back the safe harbor passage that she's been talking about, but she's talking about the guidance and regulations that they want to provide for capital formation and basically conducting ICOs. So once this gets laid out, I think that you're going to see another wave of ICOs, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they regulate this in the definitions and the standards that they lay out. But listen to this clip here real quickly.
So I think one of the things that I had been looking at now for a while is, can we have some sort of a safe harbor to allow people to do something like an ICO, right? Something where you're trying to do a token distribution event. You're trying to get these tokens into the hands of people who can actually use them. And that has been a persistent problem to figure out a way to do that that's consistent with the securities laws. So I suggested a safe harbor several years ago now, and I think we're looking at, is there something like that we can do where you do get protections, you as a buyer get protections in terms of disclosures up front when someone's doing one of these token distribution events, that you can understand what are the token economics, who's the team behind it, the things that you'd want to know. And then at some point, once those promises have been fulfilled, or once the token is functional, there'll be a way for you to move out of that disclosure framework. And so that's kind of one of the approaches that we're thinking about.
Can you imagine if any one of these bureaucrats could actually just speak in a simple sentence? How much more enjoyable it would be to move us forward. But you're trying to have a conversation with these guys, and it's like, anyways, better than Gary Gensler slithering around in his suit there. But anyways, so what they're looking at here, and Paul Atkins is going to be on Fox Business tomorrow. They're laying out guidance, not only that checklist for ETFs, but the checklist for ICOs. The Clarity Act is going to distinguish when something's a security, when it's something a currency or commodity. And this is when everything will be laid before us. The only thing that'll be missing after that is the ETFs, but it looks like it'll be hitting about the same time. If the Clarity Act is coming here in Q3, the end of Q3 or into Q4, that's the same time, right? October is when we're expecting the XRP ETFs to go live. Now, speaking of ETFs, it's not just the XRP ETFs that are being suppressed and XRP being suppressed. I don't understand why the Solana bros must be too busy trading meme coins and stuff to realize that they're being suppressed by not having ETFs as well. I don't really hear anybody else like complaining about this besides the XRP community and people like me that are, pointing this out. But Bitcoin has had an ETF, 11 plus ETFs live since January of 2024. Ethereum has had their ETFs live since July. And now Solana, it has delayed 4 spot Solana ETF applications today. That's the SEC, the Van Eck, Canary, Bitwise, and 21 shares Solana ETFs, all delayed out till October 16th of this year. So this is where we're really looking now at October for the XRP Solana. There's going to be a bunch of other ETFs go live. I'd actually seen the other day too, somebody's launching a American Eagle 2X ETF. American Eagle caught the new hype. And so now somebody's going to create an ETF that gives you 2X the returns on American Eagle. I mean, the suits will sell you anything that they can bundle up and package up to you, especially if you can sell it to the simps. They'll bundle it up, 2X levered. Yes, you bet. You better believe it. American Eagle 2X. You know what I'm saying? And so this is just the start, but it appears that the big go live event is going to be in October for all of these ETFs. And so the final way that XRP is being suppressed, and after this it'll be done, is by not allowing the ETFs to go live yet. And then when they do go live, they're going to be going live with Solana, Dogecoin, Fartcoin, and a bunch of other crap. Trump coin. Somebody else was just filed a S1 for a Trump coin as well. So, I mean, the suits are going to sell us a bunch of different products. They're going to roll it out on the same day as the XRP ETF. But that's okay because the cream's going to rise to the top. And the XRP inflows, I think, are going to outpace everything else, probably combined. Just like they're outperforming everything else combined, I think that the inflows into the XRP ETF will outperform everything else combined. Solana will be interesting to watch because people do want to get some exposure there. But as you've seen here lately, and I'm going to show you here shortly, Solana is only up about 20% since the election. The returns since the election in this new reality that we entered are pretty terrible. I mean, good for stock market standards, but for crypto, up 20% since November is dead. Or as the Solana bros would say, cooked. Okay, Cassie trades. The Bitcoin top is in. Capital rotation on deck. Yeah, bring that money in. It's going to come in big time too. She says that Bitcoin has likely reached its macro top and is now primed for a major correction. Okay, so it sounds like she thinks that this is the cycle top. And now I'm kind of licking my lips here, getting ready for our next Bitcoin short. This guy, I like this. This sounds good. A little downside hedge protection. You better believe it. The ultimate macro target for the end of this correction is near 60,000, right at the golden 618 retracement. But that's a long-term projection. In the near term, I'm tracking the formation of wave A of the larger ABC correction. Wave A target is 77,000. Ooh. Oh boy. By the way, if you want to know what blows up this cycle, in my opinion, it very well could be the Bitcoin treasury companies. Because if Bitcoin goes to 77K, these guys are going to be calling everybody and their brother to try to raise up. They're going to be doing capital calls, trying to cover their butts if this thing goes back to 77K. The space that I was listening to earlier, this guy that was, I don't know what he was tripping on. He was hallucinating on something. And he was talking about Bitcoin going to 400,000 this cycle and how he was long. He had all these call options on, I don't even know what it was. Some Bitcoin derivative that he had a bunch of call options on. And his base case expectation was 400,000 Bitcoin this cycle. And I'm listening to this space just like, what is this guy smoking? Delusional. And these guys are going to get absolutely cleaned up because even if we just see a moderate correction, not even a deep one, these guys are not prepared for it at all. So she sees a wave A target of 77,000. And so the wave A roadmap would be down to 112 up to 120, 122. This is when large caps would take off. Wave 3 would be down to 89,000. And then wave 4 would be a retest break of 1K or 100K. And then eventually that would complete the wave A. You got 5 waves within that wave A. Not to make it too confusing for everybody, but this is Elliott wave theory. You would be back down to 77,000. So she's using Elliott wave plus her Fibonacci levels. So she's counting the Elliott waves, but then using the fibs to pull where the level's going to go to. If this plays out, we could finally be on the verge of the long-awaited capital rotation out of Bitcoin into large caps. Bitcoin tags 112 for the completion of wave 1 of A, and while it's busy grinding up into a wave 2, topping out somewhere between 120 and the 122,000 zone, the large caps explode into fresh all-time highs. And I know she posted this down too. She called out every shit. I'd love to see an analyst who knows Elliott wave theory and fibs to dispute this. So she's got some confidence behind this call. Okay, here's the chart. Here's the chart all the way back down to 77,000, I should say. Yeah, that would be bad for Bitcoin. Absolutely fantastic for XRP and our altcoins. They're absolutely ready to fly. Guys, this is it. I mean, in my opinion, this lines up with what I'm seeing as well, too. It looks like Bitcoin has hit If not a cycle top, at least a micro top here, and then we would get a double top in October, November timeframe, like we typically have. Bitcoin's topped out in December, and then last bull run it topped out in November. So 2013 it was December, 2017 December, 2021 November. Okay, and so this time around, and we've seen this in the other cycles where it does a double top formation. Now, it sounds like they say that this is going to be the macro top or the cycle top for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's one that could go into a more long pronounced bear market following the 4-year cycles more closely, while you have other assets that don't have ETFs live yet, they could still see tremendous inflows, right? Bitcoin ETFs are already live. They've been live for almost 2 years. So everybody that wants Bitcoin has bought Bitcoin. Everybody that wants to join the party has joined the party. And a lot of people are now going to be exiting the party. And that's where you've seen since July, I put out a video on this yesterday, since July, there's been $1.5 billion more flow into the Ethereum ETFs versus the Bitcoin ETFs. So more money's now coming into ETH than Bitcoin when it comes to the ETF race. But of course, there's no option for XRP or other altcoins currently. Once there is, the floodgates open up and you're going to see that rotation happen. And so this is why XRP and some of these other assets can actually not see that prolonged bear market. I still believe that we'll see a quote unquote cycle top and a pullback of 50%, but a long drawn out bear market I don't see, because these inflows will continue. And I think that up to a year after XRP ETFs go live is when we see that $20 to $30 XRP. So everything still remains intact on that front. And I wanted to share this in regards to XRP before I show you why I titled this episode tonight, XRP's Outperforming Everything. Okay, one last thing here. Vet post here. Important institutional building block about to go live on the XRP ledger. This is the prerequisite for compliant usage. Credentials has 28 yes votes, close to going to activation timer among other fix amendments. Credentials are a building block for permission domain and DEX. They enable the compliant use of the XRP ledger by institutions. See, you combine this with the Clarity Act that's about to pass, and now institutions can come in without having to worry about breaking the law, and they can do so in a compliant way. Without it, the XRP ledger can't attract those native users on-chain directly. So absolutely massive amendment. I've been showing you batch transactions. This one is credentials. The other one's going to be permission, domain, and DEX. These are like the last pieces for institutional DeFi to get unlocked, right? Institutions can't come into the XRP ledger DEX and start to flow their liquidity when a bad actor out of a sanctioned country could be part of that network. They can't get their institutional partners and banks to use this ledger if they could be in the same liquidity pool as a criminal like that from a sanctioned country. So what happens is they're going to be basically creating their own pools within these permission DEXs that's built on top of the XRP ledger where you're still using XRP as gas. That's when the big institutional money can start settling on chain, at least American. Now, we've already seen other institutions around the world. They're already flowing, and on-demand liquidity has been growing. I think they have over 70 markets, maybe it's even more, where Ripple Payments is now activated. And that's been growing consistently. Okay. So we're going to see a lot more of that. But the reason why I titled tonight's episode XRP Outperforms Everything is because I was doing a TikTok live earlier today talking about XRP outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I said, you know what? I bet that XRP has outperformed all of the other top 10 cryptos combined. And I was telling TikTok live earlier, I said, guys, I'm going to go check this, but I have a good feeling that XRP has outperformed all of the rest of the top 10 cryptos combined. And the data came in and it was very close. Now, this was a couple hours ago, so the prices may be off slightly from where they were at. It looks like the market's moved back up, but that's been across the board. So this isn't perfect. This is from a couple hours ago. But as of a couple hours ago, I took the percentage gain for Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Tron, Doge, and ADA. So the top 10 minus the stable coins, and I added them all up. And their gains cumulatively since the election, 593%. Okay? Not bad. Not bad. Good job, guys. XRP alone is at 510%. So I was almost right. And really, it was Cardano and Tron that saved the day. Because check this out. Since the election, Bitcoin's only up 76%. Since the election, Ethereum only up 88%. BNB, 53%. Solana, cooked, 23%. That's terrible. Tron, 122%. And by the way, you better, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but you might want to hit the exits on Tron here on the next wave up, because what Tether's doing with their own new layer 1 is going to basically remove the need for so much Tether to be on the Tron network. That's the next threat for Tron. So Tron is only up 122% since the election, and I see a big threat on the way with Tether, similar to what Circle's doing, right? Circle's launching their own new layer 1 for stablecoins and for USDC, where USDC will be used as gas. Well, Tether and Bitfinex are working on the Plasma chain, which is an additional layer 1, same thing. And the big threat there would be for Tron, because right now so much Tether is actually printed on the Tron network. I don't really talk about Tron much, but anyways, 122% for Tron. Doge up 55% since the election. Cardano up 176% since the election. So out of the top 10, besides XRP, Cardano is in second place, up 176% since the election. And XRP, it's gone up a little bit since I measured this, up over 510% since the election. So you can literally combine this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You combine the top 7, right, where we're disregarding the stable coins. You take those 7 cryptos, add them up together, and they finally achieve a little bit more than what XRP's done since the election. And remember, the reason why I keep going back to the election, obviously it's a time frame that I'm choosing. It's my own, choice. And people are talking about how Ethereum has outperformed XRP in the last couple weeks or the last month. Sure. It still has the outperformance during that time frame was still not a big gain for Ethereum. So, pick your time frame, but for me, I think it's more reasonable to go back to the election when we truly entered a new investing environment. This is when the Fed had, decided that they were going to hold rates higher for longer. And then this is when President Trump was elected. So that's when we entered a new reality. And since then, XRP is outperforming everything. And in fact, I think I'm going to ask AI Grok, and I'm going to see if there's anything else that's up more since the election in the top 100 than XRP. ZBCN, right? Zabet comes to mind. That one's been doing really good. There's been some other great winners too. But from what I've seen here, compared to the top 10, it's just not even close. The second best is Cardano at 176%. XRP's at 500%. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up for tonight's live show is because so many people are upset with XRP's performance, and it's because they came in late. And it's because we have grown frustrated and impatient, but you have to zoom out and give yourself a perspective that's a little bit more reasonable and rational. When we come to the crypto space, our expectations have been distorted, and that we're expecting a 5 and a 10x every year, and that's conservative. If you're not 5x and 10x in your money in crypto, you're failing, is kind of like the bar that's been set, and the expectations and all these trader bros and all this stuff. In the traditional market, if you make 8% in a year, you're a legend. In this space, If you don't go up 8% in a day, it's not a pump. And so I want to set that context for our community and remind everybody that, yeah, we still want to see XRP go higher. It's going to go higher. I saw some people in the comments today saying that they were, just like one or two people saying that they'd grown tired and they were selling off. And I think, man, what a mistake. I mean, I'm not going to stop anybody. I'm not going to give anybody financial advice. I don't tell people to buy or sell ever. But it couldn't be me. Could not be me. Selling XRP now? Not a chance. With what we got coming, it's just simple math. The ETF inflows take us to double digits with ease. It's just simple math. So I wanted to set that tone, set that context for tonight's update. Now let's get into rapid fire Q&A. I'll take a look at the charts too. The market's moving back up. Big volatility came in today. For anybody who hasn't gotten in their order yet, I've seen a bunch of orders come in so far. But anybody who gets in an XRP family merch order tonight, during tonight's live show, you got to get your order in during tonight's live show. We are going to include an XRP hat in your order. And these just went live on the website too, just within the last hour. So I was talking with my guy beforehand. I said, hey, are we going to be able to handle this? If we give everybody who gets in an order tonight a hat, we're going to be able to handle this? He said, yeah, no problem. We got the inventory. And I did check with him too. Everybody that ordered on Tuesday night's show, all of your orders are sent out tomorrow. All of them are done and they're going to be sent out tomorrow. So check your email for your shipping and tracking number. If you don't get it, check your spam. Any other inquiries, just hit us up, merch@zachrector.com. We'll get you covered. Let's go rapid fire Q&A. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you so much. We're going to have some fun here tonight. Let's rock and roll, huh? Okay, Chosen One Collecting. Thoughts on ETH? Do you see it having a future? No, not much of one. There's too many competitors that are getting it done. So yeah, I'm not very bullish on Ethereum. I don't think it breaks 10K. I think that you'll struggle to see it break above 7,000 to 9,000 is kind of my cycle top for ETH. KL, thank you. So got a hat, just that, making sure that I'm getting a second hat. Richardson 112 hats are legit. Yes. Yep. If you ordered a hat, you will be getting another one. Devin, thank you for that super chat. Devin, let me scroll up here. There it is. Bitcoin will no longer be a scarce asset in the future. The algorithm will be cracked due to the Microsoft research. Just look into it. It will blow your mind. Yeah, the quantum threat to Bitcoin's very real, and I think that it will break it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I have big concerns about Bitcoin. And even without all of that happening, I just have concerns about the ROI. So yeah. Legend says, just made my order. Can my free hat be the flex fit with the white X? I ordered a shirt and a flex fit with black X. Yeah, Legend, we'll make that happen for you, brother. Yeah. And when you guys place an order, you can put in a note there too. If you have any special requests or anything like that, we'll see if we can get that done for you. Yep, absolutely. Mr. DeFi. Hey, Zach, just ordered 2 of the black XRP trucker hats. You still doing the free XRP tags with orders? I heard you mention it last stream. Thanks, brother. So you guys cleared me out. You guys cleared me out from last night's or from Tuesday night's live show. On Tuesday's show, we gave away dog tags for everybody that got in an order. That was the Better Bitcoin and XRP family. And so I got to get in another order. We're running short right now. So we do have dog tags in stock. But I'm not giving away dog tags tonight. But I'll take a look at your order. If you placed an order for 2 hats, and obviously you probably don't need another hat, maybe we can send you a dog tag for that. Yeah. We'll check it out. Respect the pump. Got to respect the pump. Absolutely. Somebody on TikTok just said, Zach, let's box. That's what stage we're at in the cycle. People are mad. People are upset. That's okay. We're trying to help them out. Birdman, do you think that Solana has a future? Yeah, not one that I care to invest in, but I think it'll stick around. Yeah, not one that I care to invest in, but yeah, I think that it'll still stick around for a little bit. Yes, Shaman, I have your hat, and I have some other merch that some people gave me at XRP Las Vegas. Zach's no holds barred to the point. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had a very interesting conversation too, by the way, guys. This space is about to get so exciting. This space, I'm all in crypto, and then I have cash. I was in a one-on-one call today with somebody, and we were talking about allocations. And when you got, some of the most respected financial advisors in the world, like Rick Edelman, who are now suggesting 10 to 40% of your portfolio should be in crypto, right? And I was having this conversation. I just said, hey, I'm 100% crypto. Other than that, I have my cash and I have my precious metals, but I don't have stocks. I don't have anything else other than I keep some liquidity. I keep some precious metals. I have a little garden, and I'm all in, and mostly XRP2 and the XRP ecosystem. Zach, don't you need Solana to cash out Zebek? No, Zebek has pairings against the US dollar. On Caleb and Brown, that's where I traded Zebek. So yeah, on Caleb and Brown, you can trade directly between Zebek and any other asset on their platform. CJ says, correct me if I'm wrong. Ripple stated in court, institutional flows don't impact price action. So if everything is being sold OTC and has no impact, what if the XRP bot to back the ETFs is also OTC and has no impact? All of the Bitcoin and Ethereum is being bought from centralized exchanges on the open order books. There is a little bit that's being bought OTC, but we are seeing significant Bitcoin and Ethereum that's being bought from the centralized exchanges. So there is the possibility where Ripple would be able to help, but they have to be careful because the injunction is still in place. So there's, they got to be careful in how they sell that to institutional partners going forward. And if Ripple wanted to drive a supply shock, then this is where they would say, well, we're not going to sell you XRP to fill your ETFs, but we did sell some XRP to the centralized exchanges that you guys work with, so go buy it from them. And that's how Ripple could kind of force a supply shock. But I went and looked this up because somebody had asked this in last night's or Tuesday night's live show. Most of the Bitcoin and Ethereum that's been bought for the ETFs has been from the centralized exchanges. And so they've had to go to the public order books to get that. And basically the public, because there's no, company like Ripple in the Bitcoin ecosystem that has a bunch of Bitcoin other than, Michael Saylor and some of these treasury companies that are starting, but they're not selling it to centralized. I mean, they're not selling it at all, let alone to centralized exchanges where those ETFs could fill their bags. So that's the big thing to see. Depending on how it goes, it could really drive a supply shock when those ETFs go live, if they are forced to go pick that up. Because even if they're picking it up OTC, there's only so much XRP to go around. So either way, I believe that it leads to a strain on supply and a price increase. It's just a matter of how dramatic is that going to be. Blake says, with Caleb and Brown, I just want to say thank you. Caleb and Brown is awesome, professional. All brokers are amazing. And just to let people know, slippage and fees moving it over sucked though. Well, yeah, that would be the fees from other platforms, right? If you have XRP in your cold storage wallet and you move it to Caleb and Brown, you won't have any fees or slippage on that. But yeah, the fees and slippage that you'll get hit with on other platforms, that's where you're going to get hit. But yeah, I've been very impressed with Caleb and Brown. I'm excited to go visit their office in Florida. Sounds like they're going to do an office in California or on the West Coast as well too. So I'll go check out their offices down there as well. Very excited. And by the way, everybody, I wanted to plug this real quick too. We're going to be having our crypto estate planning call with Mark Kohler tomorrow, and that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern, but it's exclusive for our Discord community. So the only way to get that session is to join the Discord group. That'll be tomorrow. But if you don't want to join for the call tomorrow, I have now linked up the link to get in touch with Mark's team for any tax, legal, or crypto estate planning. If you look in the description of this video, there's a link. It says taxes, legal, estate planning. And there's a link. That's a Calendly link where you can go schedule a call with Mark's team if you want to have them create entities, do taxes, legal, or estate planning work. They offer a bunch of different services, and I found that their rates are pretty competitive. They're pretty reasonable, and they're a firm that's, really getting involved in crypto too. So they're not like focused on crypto, but they're definitely not behind the ball when it comes to crypto. And so I'm really excited to start working with them. So, even if you don't join us for the call tomorrow, if you want to have any of those services done, tax, legal, estate planning, that link is down below. Just schedule a call with them, let them know that I sent you, and they'll get you set up. I'm really excited. But yeah, tomorrow's session in our Discord is going to be one of the most valuable ones I think that we've ever done. I'm really excited for it. Okay. Can you dumb down the market cap multiplier for us? Yeah, it's very simple. It's just a multiplier that you put on the inflows that come into the asset or the outflows that go out of the asset. And depending on how aggressive it is, that's going to determine how big the multiplier is. So when everybody's piling in to buy XRP, that multiplier is higher. When everybody's trying to hit the exits, that multiplier is going to be more. So it can work both ways. And what we've seen here is a market cap multiplier for XRP between 100 and 200. So if $1 is coming into XRP, the market cap grows by 100. So when JP Morgan predicts 4 to 8 billion flow into the XRP ETFs, you slap a multiple on that of 100 to 200x. And then you realize why we're so excited and so bullish about this XRP opportunity. So daily volume is what drives it. It's not. It's order book flows. It's order book flows that drive it. And then the other thing that happens too is the futures, which is not included in the multiplier, but that's something that I've now added to my chart, is the spot versus premium indicator. I don't really add many indicators. You guys know how I work with my doofus moron TA. I don't add a bunch of indicators. But yeah. How do you get the merch to buy? Just go to ZachRector.com. ZachRector.com, which should be linked up in my bio on TikTok for you guys. What are you selling us today, bro? I only sell you guys in what I believe in, right? I only show what I believe in and what I use. And I don't even take sponsorship checks, right? I just have everything set up, community resources that I use. If you want to use them, you can go ahead. So, yeah. What state did I set up my trust in? Well, that's something I'm going to be doing with Mark's team. I haven't set it up yet, but I will be. Yep. I'm looking forward to that. Can you explain slippage? Yeah. Slippage and spread. So what happens is that the market price for XRP will be $5. You'll go to sell and the exchange is going to fill your order at 490. So the way that you're going to avoid that is by setting limit orders. And you can do this on other platforms, but sometimes they'll still hit you on a spread. And so there's two different things. The spread is the difference between what you can buy an asset for and what you can sell it for on the platform. For example, if XRP is at $5 and you go to buy it on the platform, market buy it, you'll be able to buy it for 501, but you'll only be able to sell it for 498. So that is what's called spread, and the exchange is making that spread on that difference every time you trade. And so, you got spread and slippage that can be a hidden cost that other platforms can get pretty aggressive with, especially on altcoins. Coins that don't have good liquidity, that's where you're going to get hit with it. XRP back up to 310 right now. Bitcoin at 118. Okay. I asked Copilot what the XRP multiplier was, and it said 272. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been tracking too. It's very dramatic. Flare target this bull run, struggling to break 10 cents probably. I got about a 10-cent flare. Do I plan on selling XRP? Yes, I do plan on selling some. And I laid out those levels that I'm selling at in my portfolio update for my Discord. Can I stake my XRP? So there's ways to get yield on your XRP. We're going to start to see a lot more offerings for XRP yield coming about. Right now, there's not really that many options. Somebody just asked me, have I talked with Jake Claver? Yes, I actually just talked with Jake today, as a matter of fact. I had a really good conversation with Jake. And the reason why I wanted to talk with him was to get caught up on everything that they got going. They're working on a lot at Digital Wealth Partners. He's working on a lot of other stuff too. And so I just wanted to get filled in on kind of everything that they got cooking, because I have so many people that ask me about, what Digital Wealth Partners is doing, what the XRP funds are doing. And I must say, the speed at which they've grown is incredible. I told Jake today that I completely underestimated how quickly they were going to grow. They're now the largest fund, the largest XRP fund, and it's not even close. Their XRP fund is over 60 million XRP. I think the dollar value is about 220 million. So it's the biggest XRP fund by a long shot. It's not DeFi. It is centralized, right? It's, through Digital Wealth Partners, they're going to get you the yield. And so we're going to be watching that one closely. They're just well off and running to the races. But yeah, I had a good conversation with Jake today. Papa Lou 69, thank you for the 5 spot. Appreciate that. What does it mean when they say 90% of crypto will be gone once regulations happen? Well, a lot of this space has been propped up. A lot of it doesn't really have that much activity. So a lot of this space is just never going to take off or go anywhere, and it'll kind of just fade off. A lot of the space will probably struggle too once Tether has to come into compliance in the United States. So that's where 90% of the space just never gets enough traction to stick around. And I believe in that. I really do. Why will this be a traditional 4-year cycle with utility being in play now? I said that it will not, right? So it's not going to be a typical 4-year cycle. You're going to see a big drawdown still, though, because people are going to take profits. Do not think for 1 second that we're not going to see a massive drawdown on XRP price. We will. I just don't think that it'll last long because of the ETFs and the inflows and the institutional adoption. But XRP is going to run up to $30 and crash back down to 15 or 20 bucks. You know, maybe even more, maybe even lower. And that's just because there's so many people waiting to take profits at those levels. Okay. So it's not going to be a typical 4-year cycle. No. But, you know, if you're going to hold all of your crypto through this cycle, you are going to round trip it. You are going to round trip it. You're going to watch your portfolio grow up substantially and then come back down. And for the people that are doing that, I just want them to be able to stomach that. I want them to be able to stomach that. Okay, guys, I'm only going to go for a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to wrap it up. But I do appreciate everybody for stopping by. You guys have a few more minutes. Anybody else that gets in an order while we are live for the XRP family merch, we are going to include an XRP hat for you. But you got to get your order in, and you're only going to have a few minutes left here. And then I'm going to wrap this up right at the hour marker. Yes, Stu, exactly. You have a low vibe, even though we should be celebrating how well XRP has been performing since, last year, right? For most of us in the community, we're still up a lot. Now, if you're new to XRP and you're getting frustrated and impatient, I have no sympathy because we've been in this asset for 5-6 years. So if you've been in it for 5-6 days, 5-6 weeks, or a few months, welcome to the party. Focus on accumulating more. Keep your head down, focused and locked in, and don't get left behind. Don't waste any time complaining. It's just time wasted. If you're in crypto and you can't stomach a little pullback, you ain't going to make it. Just go back to your financial advisor and keep on giving him all your money. Krypton. As what is your price prediction for tomorrow? We're moving back up. We're moving back up for XRP. I don't care about tomorrow. We're on our way to probably 450 to 480 is where I expect us to hit. Not by tomorrow, but that's the next level that I'm watching on the upside. I'm in my XRP long and I'm looking to sell it off above $4. I'll probably front run that level of resistance that will hit up at 450, 460, 470. So my XRP long, it's my biggest futures position that I've ever traded. Didn't even get close to being liquidated today. And then I actually set another order and I added margin today when the market came back down. So now my liquidation level is even lower. It's like 242 now. So I mean, I'm sleeping peacefully and I'm just looking to take profit on that XRP long above $4. Okay, last couple questions, then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, what's XRP? Somebody asked what's an XRP long. So you're just making a bet on whether the price is going to go up or down. So if you're betting it's going to go up, you're in a long. If you're betting it's going to go short or down, you're going to be in a short position. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to give you one last minute here to wrap up and get your orders in. We'll get you your hat sent out to you. Once again, all of the orders that were placed on Tuesday night's live show, those will be sent out tomorrow. And then it should only take us a couple days to get all of tonight's orders sent out as well. If you don't see an email pop in, check your spam. And if you still don't see it, just hit us up at merch at zachrector.com, and we will send you your tracking number. We'll make sure it gets to you. Some of these postal services, I mean, we go international now with our shipping, but Canada's given us a heck of a time. Other places can be pretty rough. And so, we apologize for any delays that these shipping companies may cause us. Very frustrating sometimes dealing with them. But appreciate everybody for getting in your orders tonight and supporting the cause. If you haven't already, let's make sure that we like this video. Get tapped in with us if you want to join us for the crypto estate planning call tomorrow, or if you're just ready to hire and get some services done. I got the link on down below now for Mark Kohler's law firm, tax, legal, and estate planning. That's linked up down below. Take advantage of that. Get in touch. We're going to be sending a lot of people over to his firm over the next week. So first movers are going to get at the front of that line. I expect that we're going to inundate his company with a lot of new people coming in. And so I'm looking forward to getting that help from him, taking care of our family. That's what it's all about. XRP family knows that we've been under attack. We're going to continue to stand strong, continue to stay locked in. XRP's been outperforming everything. I can think that it will continue to do so. So everything's looking good over here. I hope everybody enjoyed this live session tonight. We will be back at it tomorrow, and I will see everybody in the Discord at 3 p.m. Eastern for the crypto estate planning call. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Have a good one, and God bless you all.